Chris, we're in the early stages, of course, but what's your impression of the Trump transition so far?
Well, I got to say, the New York Times on Wednesday said how chaotic and slow it was, and now we're trying to consume all of the appointments like drinking water out of a fire hose. We've had at least 5 major appointments this week, and just today, 3, the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, CIA Director Congressman Mike Pompeo, and National Security Advisor Mike Flynn. They're conservative, there's no question about it, but they're all in keeping with what Donald Trump campaigned on and promised the country when he ran.
Jeff Sessions, the first senator, one of the only senators for a while who supported Donald Trump. How do you think his confirmation might go?
Well, my guess is it's going to be tough, and probably in the end he'll get through. 2 big issues. One, civil rights. In fact, he was named to be a federal judge by Ronald Reagan back in 1986 when he was the U.S. attorney in Alabama, and the Senate turned him down. They refused to confirm him. He then got into politics, ran for the Senate, became a member of the club. But despite that he's one of the insiders, Democrats are saying 2 issues. One is a number of comments he made back in the 80s that killed him as a judge on civil rights. He's going to have to answer for those, and he's also going to have to explain his very harshly anti-immigration reform position. But having said that, that position is pretty close to Donald Trump, so my guess is it'll be tough. Democrats are going to want to show some differences, areas where they are going to fight Trump. This will be one of them, and in the end, he'll get through.
What do you make of Mitt Romney's name surfacing as a possible Secretary of State? I mean, after all, back in March, he called Trump a fraud and a phony, and Trump responded saying he was a stone-cold loser. It just seems kind of hard to believe.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think there are 2 aspects to this. One is Trump kind of being inclusive, showing that he's magnanimous in victory, not nursing a grudge, and all that's good. And as I say, trying to wrap his arms around not just all of the supporters, but also the critics in the Republican Party. I think that's praiseworthy on his part. And good in a president. Now, there's also talk about Romney as a potential Secretary of State. I'd be surprised if that happens. A couple of things. First of all, as Keith Jackson used to say about football rivals, these guys just plain don't like each other. It's one thing to meet, it's another thing to live together for 4 years in the administration. And secondly, and much more importantly, on policy, there are big differences. Trump, of course, has gone out of his way to talk about trying to reset and improve relations with Russia. Romney is really a hardliner when it comes to Putin. So I think the let's kiss and make up, yes. Work together in the administration, less likely.
Now, some Democrats, as you know, Chris, and even some Republicans are calling on Donald Trump to get rid of Stephen Bannon, his top advisor, who was his campaign chair. Bannon, of course, formerly of Breitbart, which he said was a platform for the alt-right. And the guy who claims to have come up with the term alt-right, Richard Spencer, is a proud racist. I mean, what do you make of all this?
Well, look, there is no question that there are elements of the alt-right that are racist, that are anti-Semitic. There were very troubling headlines on Breitbart when Bannon ran it. At one point, he called my colleague Bill Kristol a renegade Jew. At another point, he said that birth control makes women crazy. But look, Trump wants him, and he certainly helped Trump get elected, and this is not a job that goes to the Senate. This is a White House advisor, so Trump can put whoever he wants around him, and clearly he's willing to take the political hit.
What do you make of the tweet from Donald Trump that he had a conversation with the executive chairman of Ford Motor Company, Bill Ford, and that Ford has now decided not to take one of its smaller SUVs to Mexico?
Well, he was talking about as if he had made Ford change its plans, which is not true, because during the campaign, when he called out Ford on that, Ford said, yes, they were going to move a line to Mexico, but they were going to continue making cars at that factory and that no jobs would be lost. So there's a certain amount of spin in that tweet.
All right. What do you have coming up on Fox News Sunday this weekend, Chris?
Well, we'll get the very latest on the transition from his close to the top as he can get without talking to Donald Trump. We're going to have a live interview with a vice president-elect of the United States, Mike Pence, who's the head of the transition. And we'll get the very latest from him, ask him a bunch of the questions that you've asked me about appointments that Trump has made and has yet to make. And then we're going to get a sense of how Democrats are going to deal with Donald Trump. We're going to talk to Senator Charles Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader. He and Trump have a relationship because as the senator from New York, he was Trump's senator for a good long time. And Schumer has hinted that there are areas in which he can work with Trump, like tax reform, like big infrastructure projects, and said, in fact, he says those ideas are closer to Democratic ideas than they are to Republicans. So Pence and Schumer on Fox News Sunday.
And we'll be watching as always. Chris, thanks very much.
Russ, thank you.